One overall seed playing Miracles here. You might have Miracles win back-to-back weeks here on the Open Series. Kale Thompson's played Spoiler once. He's going to try again with his Rook Delver deck.
And looking at Sam's list here, it looks like there are no main deck Red Blast. That's sort of a defining feature of Joe Lissette's counterbalance list.
And he calls it cheaty Miracles. He's able to play a main deck Red Blast and a main deck Pyroblast with a small red splash. And there are 2 Volcanic Islands here. And, of course, the necessary fetch lands to be able to find them. 4 Flooded Strands, 4 Scalding Tarns, and an Arid Mesa. But you're going to find the blast in the board for Mr. Roukas, as he does search up an island.
I'm not positive if Sam's cards have been altered or if he just ran them through the wash. But it appears to be a consistent pattern.
Yeah, that's one of the uglier islands I've seen.
That's a Tempest one.
Yeah, those are ugly. Those are ugly. I have seen worse, but that is ugly.
Yeah. The Wrath block lands were not great. They were not great looking.
Sam going to play a counterbalance right away. It's a good start, especially if it does resolve. He does have a Forceful in his hand as well. We'll see if Kale wants to fight over this, as Kale started with the Delver of Secrets. Kale's certainly giving this a lot of thought here, because counterbalance is really tough for him to beat.
Yeah, in the long term, it's nearly impossible.
Yeah, there's no top yet, but a naked counterbalance can cause a lot of trouble too. We've seen that over the years.
Even paired with something like Brainstorm, it can generate a ton of value.
Here's a Forceful removing a Ponder from Thompson, so he does not want that in play. Now, we know Roukas does have a Forceful, and it looks like he's going to force back, removing HGs. The Mind Sculptor. So, Force will take care of Force. That means balance is in play. Now we take a look at the top of the deck for Delver. Lightning Bolt will let it flip.
I think that if I'm Kale, I'd probably just cast this bolt straight away.
See what the top of the deck is?
Well, it's not going to get easier to resolve this thing.
Yeah, that's true. Looks like Kale's quite a few lands in his hand, oddly enough. Rook is going to draw a card. Going to play an Arid Mesa, pass the turn back over to Thompson. Thompson's going to untap that Insectile Aberration, draws a copy of Tarmogoyf. Attacks here for 3, puts Roukas down to 12. It makes this so interesting to me. As you know, I imagine Kale says, "Oh, I'd like to cast Tarmogoyf. I hope you don't flip over a 2. If Sam flips over a Terminus, this is a disaster.
Oh.
Or just the 2.
Oh.
How about a Lightning Bolt, my friend?
Better cast it now.
Yeah, better cast it now. He's going to hold off. And Sam is going to sacrifice the Arid Mesa because he's not want to draw that counterspell. So down at 11, he will go. But the naked counterbalance is always a pain to play against. Now, one thing to note here, Sam actually searching out non-basics on purpose. Could have searched for a basic Plains there with the Arid Mesa.
Yeah, he has 1 copy of Council's Judgment in his main deck.
Okay. And he does have a Flooded Strand in his hand. He also has a basic Plains, so maybe he's trying to induce a Wasteland. We'll see. And Sam does draw a card for the turn. It's a copy of Brainstorm. That's a pretty good one.
You get the feeling here, if Sam's able to just find something like Swords of Plowshares, Terminus to clean this up, he's got a huge edge going forward.
It looks like he's going to look. So here's a Brainstorm right away. So a couple cards are coming. You saw Terminus among them. He's going to put a couple cards back here. You also see it in Treat the Angels. This could be the 1-2 punch from the Miracles deck here. So Sam going to put back a couple of cards here. Looks like he may take another one on the chin in just a moment. There's a Plains, kick it back over to Thompson. Thompson's going to untap. He will take a draw. It's a copy of Tropical Island. Again, he is very land heavy. He's coming in here with the Delver. Gonna put Roukas down a little bit lower. We'll play a Polluted Delta. We'll Kale. This is a Terminus. That will take care of that so long as it does resolve. So there's the payment of Plains. And that'll be Sam's turn. Guess he can play a land, of course. There's a Flooded Strand. Kale's going to sacrifice a Polluted Delta. He'll go down to 18. See if he wants to fire off the bolt now. The top card of Sam's deck, Patrick, is an Entreat the Angels.
I assume that since he's waited thus far, he will continue to wait.
Yeah.
Nothing's really changed. I'm not sure if he's saving that bolt in the chance that Sam has Jason the Mind Sculptor goes to Brainstorm. He can just clear it straight away. But given that the bolt has been revealed, I think he would be better served casting it when he had his window.
Kale will draw a card to copy a Ponder. That'll let him get started here. There is a Ponder. Sam says, that's fine. Of course, when you're playing, it's a player playing Counterbalance. And they know what the top card of their deck is because they put it back from Brainstorm. They say, you cast a 1-mana spell, and they say, yeah, sure. Well, they know what that card is, and that's bad news.
Yeah.
You saw Kale keep there. He's going to play a Trop. Now he's going to deploy his Tarmogoyf. There's again a Lightning Bolt and a Mystery card over there, so Roukas is going to reveal and entreat the Angels. He will sacrifice a fetch land, go down to 7 to do so. It looks like this may be for the full amount. We'll see if he wants to try to play around Daze or a Spell Pierce type effect. Again, he does have access to the deck list, so we will see if he wants to go for 3 or 4 Angels.
I don't know if less than the full amount gets it done here.
Yeah, excuse me, 2 or 3 Angels, but nonetheless, we'll see.
Against a 4/5 Tarmogoyf, I feel like you have to do it for... I guess he can hang back and double block, but that's really risky.
He's going to try to play around Daze. It's only going to be for 2. So this is going to work out. 2 Angels are going to come into play. Of course, that's Sam's draw for the turn, so no more cards coming. His hand right now is a land and a Force of Will. He's going to pass the turn back. 4/5 Tarmogoyf at the ready. Kale will draw. This is a Lightning Bolt. You see Sam's ready to double block here, and Kale's just going to pass the turn back.
That's surprising that he wouldn't go for an attack there. It feels like you have an opportunity to potentially, well, I guess you're trading off your Goyf in that world if you attack and allow for a double block.
Yeah.
But, that's still a spot where I feel Kale should have stuck the bolts.
I mean, it can go poorly. The interesting thing is, let's say he attacks, right, with a Tarmogoyf, the double block happens, and you fire off 1 Lightning Bolt, it doesn't work out because of naked counterbalance. You trade a Tarmogoyf for an Angel.
Yeah.
There's a Ponder. Volcanic Island's the card that's revealed.
No, I think an attack and then bolting to clear out would have been bad. But I do think that, again, Kale would have been better served just landing these lightning bolts when he's had the opportunity to do so.
Sure, sure.
Because time is not on his side here. Draw step to draw step. Sam's got him a lot better. And you never know when Divining Top is going to come down and lock you out of playing those cards for the rest of the game.
Yeah. I think now's not a bad time to fire off the Chain Lightning. Yeah, he's going to do that now. Actually, he can fire off all these things. Jeez.
Yeah.
Now, they're not lethal, of course, because Sam does have a counter spell and a Forcible in his hand, but Chain Lightning, you can get that to resolve. And Kale's looking at 2 bolts, so he says, how about this one? Sam says, all right, how about a Hardcast Counterspell? So that one's not going to resolve. And now he's going to fire off another bolt, and that one will resolve, so now he's down to 1. So you kind of got what you wanted.
Yeah. Had its twists and its turns, but...
Volcanic Island comes into play directly off the top of the deck. Sam knew it was there, as did Kale. And there's another, jeez. There's a hard cast. He's going to check here first. There's Snapcaster Mage. Here's a hard cast, Force of Will. This is what makes Kale's deck so interesting and different, is he has all these burn spells. And Kale says, let me see your, or excuse me, Sam says, let me see your graveyard. How many have you cast?
Now, a small thing there is I think that I would prefer for Kale to wait until to pass the turn to Sam there, because Sam may cast a cantrip, and then you're better served bolting in response. And if he doesn't do anything, you can bolt in the upkeep, which generates the same result, except that you force Sam to use mana on his own turn.
Yeah. It's a Tarmogoyf. It's a counterbalance trigger. It's an Entreat the Angels.
Uh-oh.
That's a Snapcaster Mage. Oh, boy. Here's counterspell on that. He does open himself to die into a burn spell here, but I think he feels pretty good that it's not going to be there. So Sam going to entreat the Angels again.
I like doing this for 2. He has the luxury to play around Spell Pierce at this point, or leaving up 2 mana rather. He can attack, chump block with Snapcaster Mage, untap, attack for lethal.
He's got to hope he doesn't die right now. Kale going to go down to 9.
And this is one of the advantages of having so many bolts in your deck.
Yeah, you have outs. Having outs is pretty nice. I'll tell you that much.
Really appreciate Wizards of the Coast printing in treat. I don't know how many hours of my life it saved, but it feels like a lot.
Being able to close out games with miracles.
Oh, yeah.
Kale.
Here we go.
It's a Ponder. There are
redraws.
Does this resolve? No redraws. No, thank you.
Sorry about that whammy.
Sam Roukas is going to win game number 1 over Kale Thompson. Blue-White Miracles is a big game over Rug Delver, as we're going to bring it back to us because it is time for our last trivia questions, my friends. Of course, this one's going to be for the full year, and that means that I've
question rules.
Okay.
So I'm just going to ask you a question. Tweet your answer at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium. Of the correct responses, one will be selected at random for an entire year Star City Games premium content is about accuracy and not speed, so do not worry about submitting first, just accurately. And please bear in mind that this contest is given away at the sole discretion of StarCityGames.com, and that Twitch TV is in no way affiliated with giveaways on its streams.
Decide what I want to ask.
Well, that would have been good to figure out while I was explaining the rules.
You're right.
And you already said that where we're going to be next week, and the commentators are go-to
I can't
1
go to
year.
that one.
That well's dry.
That's gone. So I have to do something else now, don't
Okay.
I? All right.
Take your time. No, no rush.
There's nothing really going on.
Finals of the tournament.
Whatever.
Whatever.
It's pretty early, actually. It's not even 9 yet. So do we need a question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And Grand Prix Orlando is taking place in October. We have another Grand Prix that's happening after that. A whole bunch of Brainstorm swag is being given away. If you guys haven't seen the details about that, you can go to MagicGP.com. That means you can also cheat to find the answer where our second Grand Prix will be in November. Name that horrible, disgustingly awful state that the Grand Prix will be in. And if you can, hashtag the answer, the hashtag SCG Premium. Make sure you do follow SCG Live. And we'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our finals match.
A couple hints here.
You wanted a question. I gave you one.
The nickname is the Garden State, and the motto is...
You say the Garbage State?
The Garden State.
Okay, excuse me.
And the motto is liberty and prosperity.
There it is. You can Google those too. So we're going to head back to the match now. We'll take a look at the sideboards here, where we will see... For Kale, a Graphic Cage and Needle, a True Nemesis, a Sylvan Library, an Ancient Grudge, 2 Flusterstorm, 3 Power Blast, 3 Submerge, 1 Forked Bolt, and a Rough and Tumble. I like the Library. I'm not really in love with a lot else. I guess Power Blast is all right.
I think Pithy Needle is fine in this matchup because since he's Divine Top is such a risk, but I think the True Nemesis is okay here. It's not ideal for this matchup, but it is something that can plow through certain blockers. You know, you still have some game against Entreat the Angels. Not the most efficient threat, but probably still worth a slot.
Well, we take a look on the other side of things here for Sam. He actually wrapped up game 1 pretty quickly. That's like the fastest Miracles win I've ever seen. You can see the clock in the middle. It's only about 12 minutes deep. A Batterskull, Pithy Needle, 2 Stoneforge Mystic, 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Flusterstorm, a Power Blast, 2 Elemental Blast, a Wear Terror, 2 Vendilion Clicks, and a Council's Judgment. Does not get any easier for Kale.
Yeah, lots to like in the sideboard here. If you're Sam, you got a Council's Judgment. Additional spot removal is nice, even if it's a little on the expensive side. I like the Stoneforge Mystic package in this matchup a lot. I do like the 2 copies of Rest in Peace. Again, Kale relying very heavily on his graveyard between Nimble Mongoose and Tarmogoyf to generate enough pressure. I think the Red Blasts are on the fence of being worth bringing in here, but because I think enemy number 1 for Sam in this matchup is Wasteland over anything else, I don't think he really wants to be compelled to find red mana, and he has so many powerful cards that I would actually leave the Red Blast in the sideboard.
That's fair. That's fair. Both players shuffling up here. Game number 2 will be underway here. Sam Roukas, our number 1 overall seed with Blue-White Miracles, up a game here over Kale Thompson, who did play spoiler to Jared Betcher's back-to-back Dreams with his Rug Delver deck. A lot of burn spells there, but was not able to get the job done. Got Sam all the way down to 1.
Yep. Just a little bit short. Very rare that you see Miracles forced to essentially damage race and win.
Yeah, that's really true. But Entreat allows you to do that. And that's one of many reasons that Entreat is awesome in this deck. Closes out games quick, especially when time is a factor. It's a 3 as well for counterbalance. There's a lot to like about that card. Miracles has just really been, I don't want to say on a heater because we've had other decks win, but it's been looking really, really good the past, I'd say 6 months.
What I like about it, there's so many control decks in Legacy, Esper, Deathblade, for example, Charlotte's Bug, where over the course of the tournament, Wasteland and Blood Moon are just going to doom you. I mean, those decks still win tournaments, don't get me wrong, but you incur a lot of risk every single round. Getting to play with a lot of basic lands in this format is a huge edge. I mean, how many powerful Esper Deathblade and Charlotte's Bug draws have we seen just upended by a Blood Moon or back-to-back Wastelands or Loam for Wasteland? It's a ton.
Yeah,
Happens all the time.
Countless. It is absolutely countless.
Just playing with a bunch of plains and a bunch of islands makes things very easy in a bunch of matchups. And it's not like you're giving up that much in terms of power. I mean, all the cards in Sam's deck are still quite good.
Looks like Sam is, I believe, pleased. Well, we'll see. I don't know if he's taking a good look in his hand yet. Of course, Kale's on the play, so. And Kale looks like he ships back immediately. And Sam is going to keep his opener, so.
Now keep in mind, Kale made quite the fight of it against Jared Betcher in the semifinals on a 4-card hand.
That might be a best of SCG Live moment. I know he didn't win the game, but I was on the edge of my seat during that game.
Yeah.
He peeled off 2 red cards in a row. I was like, oh my God, is that the bolt? Is that the chain? It was a pyroblast each time, and then he drew the chain. It turned too late.
Drawing the red card, assuming that it's lethal and it's in fact one of your non-lethal cards.
Yeah.
That's one of my worst feelings.
Yeah. That's tough.
Come on, spell. Yes, and then it's like a spark elemental or something. They got something to block.
Yeah. You ever played Felt Sparky?
Oh, yeah. Grand Prix Los Angeles in 2006 or 2007. I top 32'd. It was extended. Mark Herbalholz top 8 of that event. Fairies was very big.
Yeah, I was at that tournament playing Fairies.
I play old Sparky.
Yeah. This is a Ponder from Sam.
It was not very good.
That's a real surprise.
Yeah.
We'll keep with Ponder before passing the turn back over to Kale. Kale going to play a Wasteland. And he will kick it back over to Sam. Sam draws a card for the turn. It's a copy of Flooded Strand. He's going to sacrifice this. Doesn't have to play around Stifle. It's a real luxury knowing that your opponent does not have that in their deck.
Again, deckless public in the elimination round.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like Sam has brought in the red blast.
Yeah, not too surprised by that.
I think they're right on the fence. For me, it's just being in a position where you have to go get Volcanic in some spots, or if your Volcanic gets wasted, you have some dead draws. That's a large cost.
It's time for a counterbalance. Kale will sacrifice this blue to Delta, going down to 19. I think he's going to search up a Volcanic Island here. He will. And Sam has already put that in the graveyard, so I believe this will be countered by a red Elemental Blast here in just a moment. It's actually going to be a Pyroblast. All the same, counterbalance is off the table. Thompson will draw a card. It's a copy of Sylvan Library, but there is no green mana, and Kale's passing the turn back. Terminus is the draw here. Sam will play a copy of Arid Mesa. He will try to resolve a counterbalance again. Here's another Pyroblast. Will we have a fight? Looks like we will. Force of Will, removing Ponder. Sam plays very quick with this Miracles deck.
And he knows that there's not a lot of ways for Kale to play over the top in this scenario because he only has Wasteland up. You don't have to worry about Fluster Storm, Spell Pierce. He can pay for days.
Yeah. Going to take one here. Will Roukas. Thompson. Going to go search up a tropical island with the polluted Delta. Goes down to 18 to do so. Let's see what he wants to try to deploy here. It looks like he's going to go with the Sylvan Library. We have ourselves a counterbalance trigger. Sorry.
Just feels like the wind gets knocked out of you.
Really does. Arid Mesa will be sacrificed on Sam's upkeep. See if it's going to be a basic Plains or a Tundra here. I imagine it'll be a basic Plains.
Yeah, no reason to allow Kale to turn on this Wasteland. Mulligan to 5, and then the blind counterbalance flip on your Sylvan Library of all cards.
Yeah. Card that can actually get you back into it. Sam will draw a card. It's a copy of Tundra. This is a Ponder. Let's let him dig a little bit deeper, see if he can maybe find a top here.
It appears as though he's found Batterskull, which he's getting close to just being able to cast.
Yeah. That one's real tough for Kale to beat.
Yeah.
That's putting it mildly. We'll pass the turn back here. Actually, did not play a land that turn. I think he may have forgotten as he sacrificed a fetch land. Now there's Swords.
Well, I don't know if he necessarily forgot. I don't think he wants to play one of his non-basics into a Wasteland.
Fair enough. He will now. Turning Nemesis, is it your time to shine? Yes. Draw a card. He already knows the top card, so he's not going to reveal that. And Batterskull. So Turning Nemesis is going to be on defense for a little while. Those traits of damage are not favorable.
But it's still good for Kale to have Trinity Nemesis. It at least buys him a little bit of time.
Yeah,
and
of
part of
course.
the reason I like it in the matchup, just things go long, and it's not always the best threat. It's not always the most efficient thing to be doing, but there are some things like Swords of Plowshares and Entreat that True Name still functions against.
Rest in peace, the top card there. Then Mongoose will resolve. And here is a Wasteland. Going to take down the Volcanic Island. There are a couple copies here for Sam. Yeah, 2 of those in his deck. There's a Flooded Strand. This is a Rest in Peace. That'll come directly into play.
And the noose is tightening. I mean, this is not that impactful right now. It's not like Nimble Mongoose can attack, but just another, section of Kale's draws are getting cut off. Between Counterbalance, Rest in Peace, it's tightening.
Casting every spell is a danger.
Yeah.
No guarantee they're going to resolve. Here's a Chain Lightning going upstairs. And trigger this. So it says Divining Top.
Not only is it a 1,
it's the best one.
but it's that one.
It's the 1 in 21 and 1. I don't apologize for that, by the way.
I don't know what that's a reference from.
Oh, you will. A Volcanic Island will come in. Time to spin the top. Might want to crack the fetch. Yeah. Yeah. The noose was tightening. It's real tight now.
Yeah. This feels like we're approaching inevitability. It basically requires Kale to resolve another copy of True Name Nemesis, and then he can start doing some offense-defense stuff. But Sam's going to be looking at a lot of cards.
Spin that top. See a Brainstorm there, a Ponder, a Counterspell as well.
Tough times ahead.
Yeah, here's a Brainstorm. You have to imagine he's going to put back the old, well, there's Snapcaster Mage. That one kind of stinks. I imagine he's going to put back Terminus as well. Clear the road and reset up with Batterskull probably. So there that is. Yeah, we'll attack. Block
Just
resist.
test the waters.
Yeah, you got to check. Got to make sure your opponent's head's still in the game.
Press check.
Yeah. It's a freebie. Draw a card with top on the end of turn. Here's Terminus. So that's a freebie as well. That's going to clear everything up. And now Sam will pick this up. Sam will redeploy top here.
And no rush. He doesn't have to just deploy this Batterskull into
No,
it.
not at all.
Just do this.
Yeah, here's a Ponder. He can set up his library the way he wants it. See Snapcaster Mage among those cards. He does draw a card here. He's got a 1 on top of his deck. Snapcaster Mage underneath that. There's a Tarn to reshuffle if he needs to. Wooded Foothills will be sacrificed here from Thompson. He does go down to 17. But not a lot of hope left here for Kale.
Yeah, next turn he can pay 6 mana for the Batterskull if he wants to. Daze, of course, does not work. He has Divining Top plus Counterbalance to counter a potential Spell Pierce. And past that, it should not be too hard for Sam to wrap it up.
And Entreat the Angels makes it even easier.
It's not a bad insurance policy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Just in case.
Here's Batterskull. That's going to come down. And, Sam can actually kind of get a little bit liberal with his plays because, he's at 16.
Yeah.
So if Batterskull gets counter, that's cool. I've got my counterbalance, my Rest in Peace, everything else going here. He's going to spin the top on upkeep, set up things the way that he likes. Some attacks here for 4. And pass the turn back. Kale's going to draw a card. Draws a copy of Delver Secrets. There are a bunch of 1s. Spin the top yet again. Take a look at Stoneforge, Snapcaster, and Entreat.
Sam has entered the enviable position where his spells are too good to cast.
Yeah, yeah, it's really true. Draws a card, Snapcaster Mage. That one doesn't do anything, of course, because he does not have a graveyard because of Rest in Peace.
And Ambush Viper is still not bad here.
I've seen worse.
Just start attacking.
Kale going to play a Polluted Delta. Sam going to spin the top. He's well on his way to become the champion here in Syracuse. Another attack, going to put his opponent down to 5. Sam up to a very healthy 28.
A handful of some of the best Magic cards ever printed.
Yep. There's another counterbalance because why not?
Sure.
Pass the turn back. Kale's going to draw a card. It's Tarmogoyf.
It is just enough to try to resolve.
Yep, here's a Snapcaster Mage, and that's an extension of the hand. Sam Roukas Might be the fastest win I've ever seen with Miracles. Defeats Kale Thompson 2-0, and he is your Star City Games Legacy Open champion.